The title of this module is The Bible in Dispute: Violence and Non-Violence in the Text and the World. The Bible is a key resource for the Christian faith community. It consists of the foundational texts of the Judeo-Christian tradition. Islam refers to the people of the three monotheistic faiths as people of the book. This does not mean faith is ultimately in the text. The definitive trust in life is not in a book, but in God as disclosed in the book. Various theological claims have been made for the Bible. Words used are inspired, infallible, and inerrant. Infallibility, for instance, is claimed for the Bible in relation to science, history, and geography, not just human salvation. But the Bible makes no such claims for itself, especially no such claims for infallibility.
One of the major challenges we face in today's world is the challenge of interpretation of sacred texts. There is no interest-free interpretation, no advocacy-free interpretation, and no ultimate interpretation. All interpretative judgments that we make are provisional. The Bible itself has within it a visible process of interpretation. When we come to the text, we are seeking to interpret an already interpreted text. There is therefore not one voice in the text, but many voices, and they are very often in dispute.
Disputation is part of faith in the Jewish tradition. One does not expect agreement. The book of Job is a good example of faith as continuous argument with God. Nothing is settled, not even God's self. Embracing the dispute and the unsettledness of God is the challenge for people of faith attempting to make sense of God and live ethically in the world. As counter to all forms of hegemonic and oppressive faith, and to sectarian religion in Northern Ireland and Irish history, reading the Bible as a pluralist book is an essential antidote. The Bible is a book of many stories and multiple theological insights. Harmonization of perspectives or total consensus on matters of life and faith is not possible. It's about holding the different perspectives together.
Hugely important for the Jewish people is the Pentateuch, the first 5 books of the Hebrew Bible. A pluralistic Pentateuch, Genesis through to Deuteronomy, has at least 2 broad strands of text. They're not the only strands, but they are 2 of the main strands. We may describe them as the priestly and the Deuteronomic. The priestly, written by a school of priests, is about, as we might expect, ritual and purity, and includes a holiness code. The Deuteronomic source, on the other hand, is about social justice, distributive justice, economic justice. And these 2 strands exist side by side in one canonical text.
An example of these 2 strands is the particular and the universal. The particular was about being chosen, privileged, and exclusive. The universal was about being chosen for responsibility for the poor and for justice. It was also about God's exoduses in the plural and many chosen peoples. Amos, for instance, affirmed a God who does exodus in the plural. He included 2 of Israel's ancient enemies, the Philistines and Arameans, among those liberated by God. Isaiah of Jerusalem included Egypt and Assyria, 2 imperial superpowers who dominated Israel, as being among God's chosen people.
Another area of dispute would be on contested models of church. It may surprise many people that there was no uniformity or conformity in the Christian Testament itself. Letters like Ephesians and Colossians express social relations that are based on Greco-Roman patriarchy, the Greco-Roman norms. Galatians, on the other hand, one of Paul's earlier letters, is about a discipleship of equals and gives expression to a much more egalitarian faith community.
Women in the Church. 1 Timothy 2 verses 11 to 15 has historically shaped the Church's attitude to women in ministry and leadership. This first letter of Timothy was written around 100 to 110 CE, and it reflects the dispute over the role of women in ministry and leadership. In this community, 1 Timothy proposes that women should be silenced and that their salvation is in childbirth, not preaching and teaching. This was an attempt by some to regulate the women already in ministry and leadership roles. In John's Gospel, written around the same time for churches in Ephesus, a counter-model is offered. It affirms that the primary apostle of the resurrection was Mary of Magdala. In this Gospel, primacy is given to Mary and not Peter. In the Johannine community, women in ministry and leadership was norm. Then and now, women in the church in ministry and leadership was and is a matter of dispute.
Another area of dispute is violence and non-violence. We are aware of the texts of violence which include orders to carry out genocide, texts which speak of a warrior god image, and which has been used frequently in history to justify violence. But then there are also texts of non-violence. These include the creation poem of Genesis 1, the devastating critique by Hosea of violence and the mystique of violence in his 8th century, and Jesus and his teaching on non-violence, all of them critiquing violence itself and advocating active non-violence. The Bible is therefore a book about an unsettling faith in an unsettled, unsettling God.